And so what happens is you start making all this money and then your time goes away, right? And then you're like, crap, well, let me go service all these clients. And then you start servicing them, showing houses, doing this, doing that. You take your eye off the ball. You're not doing your lead generation every single morning like you should. And then what becomes your problem now? You're back to having a money problem. But you got a lot of time because you got no more clients. You just cycle through all of them. Now you got to go start generating leads, and then what's your problem? You see how it goes? That's called feast or famine. Welcome to the Success with Listings podcast, where we help you get success in the real estate game the easy way. Now you can get off the roller coaster of feast and famine and out of the rat race of competing with every other agent in town. Hi, I'm Nolly Williams. I took over 1,000 listings during my first 10 years in the real estate game, and in this podcast, I show you how to have success with listings. Let's go, man. What's up, family? We still in the house or what? Are y'all getting a little tired? No. I want you guys to give yourselves a round of applause real quick. Because I already know there's a lot of places that you could be right now today, and you chose to be here to work on your business instead of working in your business. And that is a hard thing for us to do. So what I want to talk to you about is how to quadruple your income and your business while working less. How many of y'all want to make more money? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you want to work less? How many of you want to work more? Have you ever been at a time in your life, though, when you did want to work more? I did. I mean, I used to be a workaholic. I used to want to work all the time. But I realized that there is an easier way. So just a little background about me. This is me as a young kid. Okay, this is me and my sister. And I grew up in a house where I was actually abused as a kid. So Susan was up here. Susan's still in the house. Susan was talking earlier about kids in the foster system and being abused. And this was going on through my biological mom, that raised me. My name is Nolly Alexander Williams Jr. And what was my dad's name? Same name. My dad and mom broke up when I was about 6, 7 years old. She hated dad, so then she turned that hatred over to me. She was bipolar with a master's degree in what? Psychology. That's right. And so I grew up in that household, okay? And I was told, boy, you'll never amount to anything. You're worthless. I'm sorry we ever had you. That was the kind of stuff I was told over and over again. So that is what I believed. I said, it must be true. That's what mom says. It's got to be true. But then I started to believe something different. Now, here's what happened to me. When I was 16 years old, I left home. I ran away from home. And I started living on the streets. Anybody ever done that? I hope not. I don't see it. Nobody want to admit it, huh? Yeah. I started living from house to house. I go to this house, stay with my homie over here for 3 nights. I stay with my boys over here, my girlfriend, whatever, And that was the life for me until I realized that there was a better way. One time I was in the grocery store and I had my pants sagging, hanging down. Y'all can't picture me like that, huh? Yeah, like gangster style. We were living in South Central LA at the time. I moved there when I was 10 years old. And I was trying to hang in and hang with my homies, do what all the other guys were doing. And this guy came up talking to me about Jesus and, how my life could be different and God didn't even know me. Okay? And I said, wait a minute, there's a different kind of life I can have? And so this is me just a couple of months after being off the streets. I was a manager at my uncle's company. Okay, I had a smile on my face, a big Bible in my hand, and that's still how you'll see me today. But I didn't know that was possible for me. A lot of you guys earlier, I didn't know that the brain had the capacity to remember things the way Ron White broke it down. Did y'all know that you could do that? I mean, we've read about it, right? Anybody ever read memory books? I've read it, but I've never really seen somebody in front of me do that. Okay? So I started to believe something different. So what I want to talk to you guys, what I want to talk to my family about, I live in Puerto Rico now, but Austin, I came to Austin. This was me in Austin I just turned 19. I think I was 18 years old in that picture. That's me. 18 years old. I moved, and here's how I got to Austin. Let me just share this with you real quick. My uncle came to California. He said, boy, you need to come to Texas. I said, man, I ain't coming to no Texas. Now look at me. I can't shake it, right? So I left with a duffel bag. This is God's honest truth. I left home with a duffel bag, or left the home I was staying at. And by the way, my mom and I reconciled. I love her. We just talked yesterday. Great woman. She the way that she treated me is how her family treated her. And my wife and I have chosen to break that cycle. That's not how we do things, okay? And it can be broken, amen? So I came out here. I did not want to move to Austin, but I loved it so much that I came out here. I said, I'll spend 3 weeks with you. Never left. Until two years ago, I moved to Puerto Rico, okay? Not saying it's better. We'll probably be back in Austin at one day. This is me 10 years later. And I was the president and CEO of my own record label. I was 29 years old when I made my first $1 million. Actually, I was making $150,000 a month in that business. Okay, that's what is that? Austin Chronicle did an article on us, and we're making millions of dollars in that business, Christian music. Okay, but I started believing something different. I started to believe that I was a success, that I did have a purpose, that I was not a mistake, okay? And so what I want to share with you today is that most of you guys already know that you're not a mistake, and you guys already know that. However, there's another level. How many of you feel like you could be at another level of the game? Raise your hand. How many of you want to get to a lower level of the game? No, nobody wants to do that, right? So you already know. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So my vision, my mission is to inspire you to become all that God created you to be, so that you can live the life you were meant to live. Raise your hand if you believe that you're living 100% of the life that you were meant to live. You're living 100% of the life and your capacity. Okay? It's my mission to help you get there. So I want you to live your dream life. Okay? This is what Uncle Nolly is about. Okay? Can I share this real quick? I want to help you make $250,000 or more a year working 3 hours a day. Is that all right? Yes. Somebody say, what's he talking about? Did you realize, listen to me, when I was 8 months in the business, when I got in the real estate business, I was 33 years old, right here in Austin, okay? And after I got my license, 4 years after I got my license, I was the #1 solo producer in Austin out of 9,800 agents, okay? Austin Business Journal did the thing, 9,800 some agents. I did 96 transactions as a solo agent, okay? Now that little kid that you saw earlier would never have believed that he could do that. That little kid you saw earlier never completed past 9th grade. Okay? That little kid got his GED and went to college and dropped out. Okay? What many would call a failure. All right? And so what I want to share with you is what I'm sharing with you and what I've done, every single one of you is more credentialed, I guarantee you, than I am. Okay? Every one of you has probably a better capacity for the success, than I have. Okay, but I put in the work. How many of y'all have put in the work? I know you have. Raise your hand. If you're here today, you have put in the work. So here's what I believe. I believe you can earn $250,000 or more a year, have nights and weekends off, 4 to 5 vacations a year, debt free, and working 3 hours a day. When I got that award as the #1 agent in Austin, Texas, I did not work Friday, Saturday, and Sundays in my real estate business, okay? I was working about 20 to 30 hours a week, and I did almost 100 deals, but I had 4 assistants, okay? I had a lot of leverage. Actually, McGraw-Hill hired me by the way, McGraw-Hill is the #1 educational publisher in America, okay? This is college textbooks and stuff. Okay? They hired a guy without a degree to write the book and this is really a scientific project, this book, okay, called 3 Hours a Day. So we're going to get into the science of it. Y'all still awake enough to do that? Yeah. Are we good? Yeah. All right. So unfortunately, all the tips, tricks, hacks, scripts, tactics, and strategies in the world will never get you to your ultimate greatness. Did y'all know that? Yeah. Now, I'm a strategy guy. I love strategies. I wrote a book that's 450 pages called Success with Listings. And you know what that book is all about? Strategies. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and any time that I've ever been interviewed or you do the DISC assessment, I always test out as an engineer. That's how my mind operates. So I love the tips, the tricks, the strategies and all that, but that will not get you to the ultimate greatness. And here's how we know this. There was a study done. By the way, anybody ever read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, Dr. Joseph Murphy? Okay, a few people have read it. It's a great book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Back in the 60s when that book was written, we believed that 88% of the things that you do every day were autonomic. They came from your subconscious mind. Now, science has since proven that it's actually 95%. So 95% of the things that you do every day are autonomic. You have zero control over them. You're like running, it's a program that's running. All right? So this is the success. This is what we're working on when we work on tips, tricks, and now I'm all for the tips and tactics. I love scripts. How many of y'all, my book has 95 scripts in it. I love scripts. How many of y'all like scripts? When I first got in the business, I didn't like them. I was like, man, I don't want no script. Then I started having to use them because I was failing without them. Right? I started learning my scripts. So all of this is your subconscious mind. And when we work on the strategies, we're like, okay, I'm going to implement this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to implement this. I'm going to do this one. This is what we're working on right here when we do that. Okay? But in order for you to change your behavior, you got to change the subconscious, because the subconscious is what creates your belief, and your belief is what controls your habits. That's why we've learned that willpower doesn't work. Let me say it again. That's why we've learned from science that willpower does not work. It's sustainable for 6 weeks. We'll do it for maybe even 6 months, very rarely, but it's not going to be a lifestyle change ever. And why is that? Because we've learned from science that 95% of the things that we do are autonomic. They happen as a result of the subconscious mind, and 95% of your daily activities that you do every day originate there. Does that make sense? Right? So you're like, oh, I'm going to change this. I went to the seminar. I learned that. I read the book. I started doing the technique, but then you fall off. Anybody ever had that happen? Right? And so the reason it happens is because this is the part that I don't want to say you have to change it, because the subconscious mind can't really be changed. It can be massaged. It can be reprogrammed. Okay? It can be rebuilt even. Okay? But it's not something you have to push hard against. So everybody got that. So how do you edit and upgrade your subconscious mind? How do you do that? That's what we're going to talk about. It all begins with focus. That was the first word, right, that Ron talked about. Focus. That's what it really begins. And in order for you to quadruple your income by working less, you've got to focus on fewer things. Does that make sense? You got to focus on less. So let's look at what we're going to focus on. You've got to focus on the 10%. What we learn from science is that 10% of the things that you do every day move the needle in your business by 90%. And 90% of the things that you do every day in your business move the needle by 10%. Remember, Jim Rohn said that most people major in the minors. Anybody ever read the book, The Tyranny of the Urgent? Anybody ever read that? It's called The Tyranny of the Urgent. That most people spend their time doing the things that are urgent instead of the things that are important. Because the urgent things have to be done now. I'm putting out a fire. I'm working on that. I got to put the amendment together. I got to get my DA disbursement back. I got to do the, and all of those things are minors and not majors. So we're going to talk about what the majors are. And so we want to move the needle in our business, don't we? We want to really move the needle. So if you only focused on the 10%, let's say you wanted to make $1 million this year. If you only focused on the 10%, you would still make $900,000, and you'd be working 90% less. That's science. Okay, that's what we learned in this science project that I put together for McGraw-Hill. So as you begin focusing on the 10%, your brain is actually transformed. This is a real brain, okay? Now 150 years ago, we didn't know this. We now know that the brain has what we call neuroplasticity. It rebuilds itself. And we've learned that from people that are on like on meth. You say, well, how come that person that's been on meth for so long well, their brain has been completely rewired. They can't think the way we think, okay, until they rewire their brain. So this is a brain that without, going through any of the coaching and training and exercises, 2 weeks later, that's what the same brain looked like. Just a portion of the brain, okay? And then that's the same brain at 2 months. So it will create new synapses, new neural pathways, networks, and connections that will help you. So this is how the brain operates. So we already know that. So is it time? Don't we all like remodels? Yes. Oh, I love a good remodel. How many of y'all like good remodels? Right? So my question is it time for a remodel? And I'm talking about remodeling your mind. It really is. How many of y'all can say it's time for a remodel of my mind? Okay? And I got my hand raised too, because this is what I'm working on every single day. This is where the real work happens. If you can influence, now notice I didn't use the word change, because the subconscious mind does not like to be bullied. It doesn't work that way. She's like a woman. You got to massage. You got to work it. Hey, what if we do this? What is the number one job of your subconscious mind or your ego? To protect you, to keep you alive, to keep you safe. And so we say, hey, man, I'm about to make my first $1 million this year. What's up? We gonna do it? Huh? Are we gonna do it? And the subconscious is like, well, hold on a minute. He says he wants to make $1 million. We ain't never seen that before. We don't know what that's like. We better not do that. And you stay at 150. Or you get to where your trajectory, man, I made 400 already, and boom, you go 6 months without sales. And you sabotage yourself. But it's not you sabotaging yourself, it's your subconscious mind trying to keep you safe. That's all it is, okay? If you can influence your subconscious mind, you can influence what you have, where you live, and even who you are. That's science, okay? You focus on the 10%, and that focus will just be 2 big picture priorities. I want you to think about it in terms of the 2 big picture priorities. And this is so easy, okay? I call it 2 glasses of wine simple. You ever heard of the KISS method, K-I-S-S? What's it stand for? Why you calling me stupid? Who called me stupid? Huh? Keep it simple, sweetheart. All right? Or keep it super simple. Keep the stupid out of it. All right? I call it 2 glasses of wine simple. I just had my second glass of wine, and I can still understand what he's saying. Now, why does it have to be that simple for us? Because we're simple. She said we're simple. Yeah. Because what? We'll do it. Because we'll do it. If it's not simple, you won't do it. That's all. Okay? So there are 2 big picture priorities that will help you get everything you want. And we learned this through research. So in your business, you will only ever have 2 problems. All right? Now, Tony, trying to give my thunder away, he already told you what it is. So by the way, you will only ever have 2. Right now, during my talk, we're going to solve every problem that you'll ever have in your business ever. Is that okay? Yeah. Bless you. All right. What are the 2 problems? Time and money. That's the only problem you'll ever have. Problem number 1 is not enough money, and problem number 2 is not enough time. Now, here's what happens, and this is how feast or famine happens. Anybody understand feast or famine? How many of you going through it right now? Don't raise your hand. Hey, I'm in feast I'm in famine right now. Just kidding. But has anybody ever been there? So here's how it works. So I start making a lot of money. Okay? Man, I'm making it. Ooh, man, this is good, boy. Just closed my 4th one this month. Oh, it's so nice. Right? And then I have to, what do I have to do? I have to service that business. Okay? Because now I have a time problem. I got so much business, I can't handle it all. And God knows I ain't going to hire nobody, because nobody can do the business like me. Nobody can key it into MLS the way I can. Just the way my hands hit the keys. I'm just the best at punching it in MLS. Nobody can do it like me. Right? And so what happens is, you start making all this money, and then your time goes away. Right? And then you're like, crap. Well, let me go service all these clients, and then you start servicing them, showing houses, doing this, doing that. You take your eye off the ball. You're not doing your lead generation every single morning like you should. And then What becomes your problem now? You back to having a money problem. But you got a lot of time because you got no more clients. You just cycle through all of them. Now you got to go start generating leads, and then what's your problem? You see how it goes? That's called feast or famine. All right? So how do we solve this? If you don't have enough money, the way you solve that, there's two big picture priorities that you're going to focus on. And right now, if you're listening to me and you don't, and this problem is yours, raise your hand if you got a money problem. I'm just kidding. Don't raise your hand. All right. So I got money problems. I could barely make my ticket today. All right. I've been there. Hey, I've been to where I could not afford the ticket, but I figured out how to get there, you know? I've been there. So number one, you got to generate leads and you got to go on appointments. See, there's a 46-step system when it comes to listings. Step number one is generate the lead, and then step number 40 is close the transaction, and then there's 6 steps that happen after closing. Of all the 46 steps, I discovered that only 5 require a license in Texas. Only 5. So why would I ever do the other 41? Why would I? Okay? And of the 5 that require a license, there's only 2 of those that are income producing. And what are those 2? Generate the lead, step 1, and go on the appointment, step 11. I figured that out very early. And so if all I did was generate leads for 2 to 3 hours a day, and then go on appointments for those leads during the week, and every single day did this, if you do this, you'll be rich, period. Even if you didn't do anything else in your business. And this is how I ran my business. I got to the point where I had a gal, her name is Susan Prey, she's right here in Austin, and she would go on all my listing appointments. Okay, because it was like I was generating so many, it was like more productive for me. I was generating, okay, so I did over 1,000 listings my first 10 years in real estate, okay? And I did that right here in Austin. I was doing more than 10 deals. My last year in production, I did 153 transactions as a solo agent. And it got to the point when you're doing 14, 15 listing appointments a month, okay, that is a distraction for me. So I paid her 30% I would book the appointment in her calendar, she'd go on it, give her 30%. Okay, I had no problem doing that. And I had her booked out 2, 3, 4 appointments a week. Okay, that's what we did. And all I did was I worked every morning for 2 hours doing lead generation. That's all I did in my business. Okay. Anybody seen my signs? Those of you that have been around when, back in the day, you guys saw my signs. I would talk to UPS guys and they're like, man, I see your signs everywhere. Okay. But all I was doing was generating leads. I didn't do anything else in the business. And that's how you solve your money problem. Okay. Some of you guys are looking at me like, what are you, what's he talking about? Okay, because you think you got to do it all. I had when I had my real, an eye-opener for me, because I thought, man, this Nolly Williams you talking, I know I only weigh about 120, but I'm saying, I'm looking like, man, this is Nolly Williams, what's up? I'm bad. I'm number 1 in Austin and all that. And so I said, well, I wonder if anybody else could really sell real estate. That's how I'm thinking. You know how you get cocky? That's how I got. Okay, y'all never got cocky? Okay. All right. Mr. Perry Holmes, boy, he's bringing some heat over here, boy. Come on now. He said, I'm bad. Now it's good. That's confidence. That's not cockiness. That's confidence. But I was acting cocky. So I went and I said, how many transactions sold? I looked it up. That year was 24,000 transactions. 24,000. Okay. Now how many sides is that? How many? 48,000. Here I am. I think that year I sold 127 deals. But there was 48,000 transactions. So apparently somebody else knows how to sell real estate besides me. You see? You can get your unfair share, but you got to get help. So these are the 2 things you want to focus on. Now, what if you don't have enough time? Okay? What if you don't have enough time? Your 2 big picture priorities are going to be branding and leadership. Okay? So that's really where I spend my time now. Okay, I'm with an excellent company, EXP. Okay, EXP paid me over $250,000 last year in revenue share. Okay, just for helping other people become successful. All right, so my problem is not money. Okay, I don't work for a living anymore. I'm just out doing God's will, okay? But my problem is time, because I have a limited amount of it. Don't we all? Every single one of us has 168 hours a week, and that's it. You got the same amount as I do. So now all I work on is branding, which is a higher level of lead generation, okay? YouTube, TV show, social media and all that. And leadership. Leading, I've got over 300 agents that I lead. So those are the two big picture priorities for you. A big trap for you in your business is going to be thinking that you can do it all, or that you have to do it all, or that you even can. Here's how you avoid that. Understand where you are weak and partner with others who are strong in those areas. Does that make sense? Yeah. So time and money, that's how you solve those two problems. Julianne Gorman, this is my massage therapist. And back when I had a team and I was selling, she came to me, she said, Nolly, I want you to teach me to do what you do. Okay, and I said, what are you talking about? Now, she worked in a chiropractor's office, and if she wasn't putting hands on somebody, she didn't make any money. She was by herself, solo. I'm blowing people away over here. It sounded good to me, but I didn't know it was that good. No, make sure she's okay though. All right. So she came to me. She said, Nolly, I want you to teach me to do what you do. I said, I thought I had a recruit. I was like, oh, you want to get in real estate? That's good. She said, no, I just want to do it the way you do your business, because I've been watching you. I want to do my business like that. So we sat down. She coached with me, showed her how to do it. 4 or 5 months later, she had two or three people working for her. She broke her foot. She couldn't do massage therapy for like 3 or 4 months. And she told me one day, she said, Nolly, if it wasn't for you, I would have lost my house. I said, what do you mean? She said, you remember when I couldn't work? Okay. But I had 3 people. At that time, I think she had 4. And they basically took over the business for her. She got 50% of their bookings. She just opened her 3rd clinic last month. Okay. She's got over 60 massage therapists. This works in any business, by the way. She's got over 60 massage therapists, and she gets 50% of every booking that they do. Before, she thought she got 100% of what she did. I got a question for you. Would you rather have 100% of a grape or 50% of a watermelon? Would you want 100% of a grape or 50% of a watermelon? Some of you are like, well, I'm not sure. I'm talking math, guys. We got any math people in here? I talk to people all the time. They're like, man, I get 100%. I'm like, yeah, I know you get 100%, but I got like hundreds of agents, and I get a little percent of each one. But it's good. You see what I'm saying? So there's a different level of the game, a different way you can do this. I launched a nonprofit. I love nonprofits. Susan left. She's not here. So I encourage you to support nonprofits. I just launched one. There's a lot of nonprofits out there that will do all kinds of incredible things. They'll feed people. They'll give them housing. They'll even give them clothing. But what Scripture says is that my people perish for what reason? For lack of knowledge. Okay, they're not perishing because they don't have a house to live in or a meal or, those things are important. And I support a lot of different nonprofits. I support a lot of them. But what's really important is we've got to get people information so that they can know that, like me, when I was 16 and all I thought was I'd never amount to anything, that yes, your life does matter and does mean. So this is, for those of you who want to check it out, Life Unlimited University. What I'm doing now, a lot of people ask, what are you up to these days? What I'm doing now is I'm providing all of my training, coaching for free, because I don't really have to make money from that. Does that make sense? Y'all understand that? So go to Life Unlimited University when you can. Follow me on Instagram as well. That's Nolly.Williams. Absolutely for free. These are master classes. I charge $1,000 for this one. This one's $1,900, and so on and so on. But what I'm doing is anybody that actually donates to the nonprofit allows me to go out, and I'm an evangelist. That's what I do. I'm an evangelist teaching entrepreneurs how to become more successful. Did you know that 99.9% of all businesses in America are small business? 99.9% are small businesses. That's what runs America. And if we can get those people more successful and thinking differently, we can change. We can change our country, for sure. Yeah. So what I'm doing is all of these master classes that you saw on the previous, I'm basically giving all these away. You can go to my websites and buy them, okay? Or you can get them all free if you decide to become a donor, okay? And don't just donate to one thing. My wife and I donate to a lot of different things. What I'm telling you, to dominate your mind, your market, it starts with dominating your mindset, okay? And not dominating it in that way. You guys understand what I'm saying? Dominating your mindset. I do have a class coming up on May 23rd. We're not doing anything here for that on that date, right? Okay, I don't want to conflict. But it's called Thrive in the New Market. A lot of you guys know the new market. How many of y'all are excited about the new market? Like this new market? Nah, I ain't excited about it. I'm going to show you how to thrive in the new market on that particular masterclass. So make sure that you sign up for that masterclass. Don't ask me for the URL later, because it's like a long Zoom URL with like 21 characters, and I'm not Ron White. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to tell you what it is. All right. So that's my time, guys. I just wanted to share with you that there's an easier way to do this business, to inspire you, that there's a higher level of the game that you can aspire to as well. That's how to quadruple your income while working less. God bless. Love y'all. Well, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Success with Listings podcast. If you are serious about taking your real estate career to the highest heights, making more money and helping more clients while working less hours and spending more time with your family, be sure to get your copy of my free book, Triple My Listing, absolutely free at successwithlistings.com. Now, you want to be sure that you subscribe to the podcast and check out successwithlistings.com to get your copy of my free book. Hey, I'll see you on the next one.